Mame fa na se ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV de o se dem yopo.
Kwesi.
Well, I mean, the issue is not that simple. There are some complications. And the first thing I like to say is that Gabby, unlike Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia, is not contesting for the flag bearership of the New Patriotic Party. He's not hoping to be on the ballot for the 2028 elections. So what he does and says can be different from what Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is expected to do and say. They are not the same. So that comparison, I don't think that is tenable. So Gabby can apologize, okay? If apology is wrong, Gabby can apologize and get away with it. After all, who is Gabby? Private legal practitioner, former cousin or nephew of the president.
No, they're still cousins. He's not former.
Yeah, but not of the president.
Oh, okay, of the former president. You mean,
Yeah,
because you say his former cousin. That's what I said, yes. Yeah, he's a cousin of the former president.
Of the former president, that's what I mean.
Right.
So really, what is his locus? He's not the general secretary of the party. He probably may not even be a card-bearing member of the party. Probably, I don't know. You understand? So that is Gabby's status. Okay? So to say that he's urging others to do what he's not doing, I don't think is really a strong point. Because they're different people in different spaces, acting differently and so on. So that's number one. Number two, Gabby makes an interesting point, and it is this. I've had so many apologies, and Moro, let's be honest. You hear the apologies, and then you're sitting back and you say, but what are these people apologizing for?
Okay.
Oh, we are very sorry, please forgive us. And I said, forgive you for what? Because we don't know what we are asking forgiveness for. Okay? So to that extent, I think Gabby makes an interesting point. What is the apology about? Because if you're apologizing, you must be apologizing for something really specific. You understand? What is it that the apology is about? I don't know. Maybe you guys know. I don't. Collins, maybe you know why you are going all over the place apologizing. Apologizing for what? Come on, tell us what you're apologizing for. You understand? So Gabby's point is that if you're just going about rendering apology and nobody understands what the apology is about and so on, it may be a self-inflicted blow come 2028.
Yeah.
And that's a fact. Because in 2028, what are you coming to tell us? You came and told us that we failed, and that we should forgive you. Where is the evidence that we are not going to fail this time? I mean, how can we convince ourselves that the failure is for the past and would not find repetition in the future and so on? So apology is not something which ought to be done lightly, as a political gimmick and so on. Right now, it seems to me that apology is becoming just a political gimmick of no real value. And that's the complaint that Gabby is making. And it seems to me that there is some validity to the claims that he's making about this, if you like, reckless apology. You understand? So let's put that down. Then he claims, and this appears to be a defense of his uncle, okay, that the impression is created that his uncle's government didn't do anything for the people of Ashanti.
He's not happy about that.
And that it is unfortunate because they did a lot and they did what the MPs demanded that they do. This is a matter of fact. It's either a fact or it's not a fact. Now, the minority MPs from Ashanti have come and said, at no point did they make the demands that Gabby claims that they made. Gabby has come back to apologize, interestingly, Is that an admission that what he said was not true? Gabby's apology, what does it really mean? Does it mean that what he said about the MPs was not true?
Yeah.
And if what he said about the MPs was not true, why did he say things that are not true about the MPs? You know, so it's just murky, you know. Look, our friends in the New Patriotic Party, our fellow countrymen in the New Patriotic Party must be told that elections ultimately are about the promotion of the well-being of our people. You understand? Their living standards, their living conditions, and so on. That's what it ought to be about, not gimmicks. And we've seen too many gimmicks in our electioneering campaigns that makes me sick and sometimes destroys even good candidates. You know, there's going to be an election, and then they go and consult some election specialists, and they say, look, the people who can give us the votes to win are young people. Young people like a certain type of music. So every time you appear on the platform, go and shake your waist to that type of music. And we've seen that. You know, so you've seen candidates jumping onto platforms, shaking their waist in some unrhythmic, you know, fashion, and actually sometimes looking like yo-yos. You know, so what is this? I mean, you read Atta Kennedy's book, Chasing the Elephant into the Bush.
Yeah.
And he makes the point about how much money was spent on useless concerts at the beach. And the politicians are still not learning. You know, they are giving more to gimmicks, childish gimmicks and so on, than discussing the substantive issues of our day. You know, so to some extent, I think that is what Gabby is attempting to talk about. But then he himself at a certain point has to run away from his claims quickly because I think he doesn't want to be in the eye of the storm and so on. But I think the essential point here is that our politics should be about real substance. The essential point here is that these gimmicks of just apologize. As for Ghanaians, if you apologize, they will sympathize with you and so on. You should just leave all of that in the background. You know, look, there are concrete problems facing us. Right now, as we sit on this platform, I'm told that some elite schools have been closed down in Accra. I'm sure you are aware.
I've heard that too.
Because of a viral infection which is running loose on some of the campuses. So that's a major national concern, viral infection. We've heard about World Health Organization's warnings that COVID-19 could come back with some vim. So the viral infection we're seeing on some of these elite campuses and so on, is it in any way related to a COVID-type infection and so on? We need to know.
Right.
We need. It's a major important issue that we need to address.
Okay.
You know, right now as we sit here, and we said that repeatedly over and over again, there are many people who are being born in mining areas without limbs, with defective eyes, with you know, defective organs like kidneys and so on. You know, that's a major issue.
Yeah.
If we were to give you power 2028, how are you going to address these issues? You understand? How are you going to address these issues? Right now, as we sit here, cocoa production is going down by 50%. If we gave you power in 2028, are you going to revamp the cocoa sector?
Yep.
How are you going to revamp it? That's a major issue for us. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, this morning we spent considerable time talking about reparative justice for Africa. Where is your position on reparative justice for Africa? You understand? We are still in an era where women are being discriminated against. You know, maternity leave for women is 6 weeks before birth and 6 weeks after birth, subjecting women and children to terrible conditions of life and so on. what is your position on this matter? Maternity leave for women. You understand? So these are the issues we're talking about. And stop the concerting, you know, the Jaguar Joker attitude in politics, you know, the shaking of waist on platforms and rendering of apologies that we don't know what they're about.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
I think essentially maybe that is what Gabby wanted to say. I don't know, but maybe that's what he wanted to say.
All right.
And if that is what he wanted to say, then he has a very strong point, because our politics has become so pedestrian. Our politics is not related to the concrete issues that confront our people.
Right.
You know?
Okay.
So, please, I mean, those of you who want to be president and so on, and Gabby asked a very important question.
Right.
I mean, if you come and you yourself confess that you did so very badly, why do you want to come back?
Yeah. Okay.
That's Gabby's statement.
Yeah.
I mean, we heard him loud and clear. He said, you came and said that you were a total failure. We didn't say it. You came and told us that you performed so horribly and that you are begging for forgiveness.
Yeah.
If you are begging for forgiveness, go and stay at home.
Yeah.
You can't be begging for forgiveness and coming back for the power to come and mess us up again.
Yeah.
I think this is clear message that Gabby put out there.
But you ask a very, very, very important question, and we wish that if we had Gabby on, we could ask him, but I doubt if he'll grant this interview, because you asked, are you apologizing for what you said or where you said it and how you said it? You know, we need to know that. Is it where? As in the platform, or what exactly you said, which is, are you now saying it is not true, or you're saying it is true, but I shouldn't have said it at where I said it, and I shouldn't have said it how I said it.
But this is the whole problem with the apologies. People are apologizing to us and we don't know what they're apologizing for.
Yeah, we need to know.
This is the whole problem.
Okay.
And they think that just by saying I'm sorry, you know, it will win our sympathy. Please, we are not winning any sympathy by apologizing for nothing.
Okay.
You know, or for apologizing for things which are only in your head. You understand?
Okay.
That's the whole point about these apologies. They have lost meaning.
Okay. Now, Uncle C, I'm glad that you're here. In fact, last week there was an issue I wanted to would have loved to run by you, because it trended. In fact, most of the newspapers carried.
Let's start it this way.
Okay.
Ghana should not be the dumping ground for any country anywhere in the world. And it doesn't matter whether what is being dumped are ex-occupants of the Guantanamo Bay prison, or deportees, or second-hand clothing. Ghana should not become anybody's dumping ground. And that's a principle we should uphold. You understand? We should conduct international relations in a manner which raises our dignity, upholds our dignity. First and foremost, our dignity as a people. You understand? When you begin to conduct international relations, you know, in the same manner that things are prostituted, then there's a problem with foreign policy. You understand? So there should be a principled stand. Avoid dumping, and every nation that we deal with, every authority that we deal with in the world must understand that our dignity as a people cannot be sacrificed for any other thing. This is the basis upon which I think we should conduct foreign policy. This whole idea that, in diplomacy, you give something to get something and so on is annoying in the extreme. You see, it's very annoying in the extreme. Because it seems to suggest that everything is up for sale.
Right.
Including our dignity, including our fundamental rights and so on. I mean, that's not the kind of foreign policy that Nkrumah and others, you know, conducted. The underlying principle is the protection of national sovereignty. The underlying principle is the protection of national dignity and so on. And it's for this reason that many of us were staunchly opposed, to the dumping of ex-occupants of the Guantanamo Bay prison on Ghana. You remember that?
Yes, yes,
you
yes.
opposed
Yes.
that very vehemently. So we should have the same principle extending to all. Now, one argument was made, which was that these people who were being deported were West Africans, and that under the ECOWAS protocol, West Africans are free to come to Ghana for a 90-day period. You understand? So, the weakness in that argument is that West Africans who want to take advantage of the ECOWAS protocol and its 90-day, arrangement and so on, ought to do so on their own free will. On their own free will. If they are compelled, by force and so on, it becomes dumping. It becomes complete dumping and so on. So I think we have to look at that and also understand that very, very clearly. In any case, the West Africans who were brought here were not happy with the fact that they were coming here anyway, and that's why they went to court, through their lawyer and so on. Now, these deportations which are being carried out in the US and other places, talk to the Africans. They're very unhappy about it. Even talk to African Americans and so on. They're very unhappy about it because some have claimed that there's a tinge of racism. And if that were the case, why would a government like the government of Ghana want to be implicated in this whole thing, which is so unsavory, which has led to some abuse of the fundamental rights of U.S. citizens? There's a case of the guy who is actually married to an American citizen, has children by an American woman and so on, who was actually not deported to his own country, but was deported to a third party. And congressmen and so on had to come in and try and get him back into the United States. And so it's messy, you understand? So our government should not be complicit in the violation of the rights of citizens anywhere. The rights of asylum seekers and so on. We should not be complicit. It seems to me that we have not taken a clear principled stand on this matter. And I'm worried about the aesthetics. The aesthetics are not looking good at all. The aesthetics are not looking good. Especially as in the final analysis, we've had to deport them. Okay? And I listened to the lawyer who took the case to court. And the lawyer argues that one of the...
That's Oliver, isn't it?
Yes.
Back up on
yes. One of the arguments that the Trump administration had used in order to, bypass the court processes in the U.S. and so on was that they would not be deported to anywhere where they face danger.
Yeah.
And yet Ghana accepted them and deported them. To what extent was that a violation of the pledges which the Trump administration had made? I don't know.
Yeah.
But there could be a violation in there, you understand? So please, let us conduct foreign policy with dignity. Let's conduct foreign policy with dignity. Let us uphold our dignity. Don't let us look like doormats for other governments and so on. We cannot be doormats for anybody. This is Kwame Nkrumah's Ghana. This is where in 1958 we had the All African People's Conference. This was the center of the struggle for liberation in Africa. You understand? This became home of Dot Padmore. This became a center which attracted Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X and so on. Don't let us destroy that value. That's an important value we have to hang on to. Because it's about our dignity as African people. I mean, the whole morning we spent considerable amount of time discussing reparations and so on and so on. Our president is the AU champion for reparation. We should not be conducting ourselves in ways which undermines national sovereignty. We should not be conducting ourselves in ways which would create the impression that our citizenship is inferior to others and so on. That's all I have to say.
But Uncle C, I've just two quick questions. I mean, we have a foreign policy that says we're friends to all, enemies to none. That's our foreign policy. We're friends to all, enemies to them. That's
I think
one,
that's a total misinterpretation of our foreign policy.
Okay.
Read that foreign policy doctrine.
But that's what the foreign minister is saying.
We are implacably opposed to racism.
True.
Our foreign policy
Yes.
is implacably opposed to racism.
Yes.
Our foreign policy is opposed to colonial occupation.
Right.
Our foreign policy is opposed to all violations of rights of citizens and
Yes.
so on.
Right.
So we are not a neutral country, friends to all and enemies to none and so on. That's a total misinterpretation of our foreign policy. There are principles that our foreign policy upholds. Okay?
Okay.
There are clear principles that our foreign policy upholds.
Okay.
Okay?
Right.
And that is why, for example, President John Dramani Mahama only recently donated, 40 tons of cocoa products to Palestine.
Yes.
That's not based on friends with all and enemies to none and so on. It's based on a concrete policy of being opposed to colonial occupation and racism,
Right.
being opposed to genocide and so on. That is why the president gave that brilliant address in the United Nations.
Yes. I haven't even picked your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, brilliant address in the United Nations. You understand? If our foreign policy meant taking no stand and so on, why was the president taking such a bold stand in the UN and so on? So we should drop that whole idea of
All right.
friends to all and enemies to none and so
Right.
on. It's not true.
All right.
We are enemies to racism.
Okay. So the foreign minister builds a point and says, look, Ghana is the Mecca of Africa. We have been championing Pan-Africanism for God knows how long, starting from the likes of Nkrumah and so on and so forth. And these are our brothers. They are Africans. They have been deported from where they are because they are either overstayed, they are welcome and so on and so forth. So if they are distressed and they need some kind of support, and we have the capacity and the capability to support them, why reject them? In any case, they are not going to stay here forever. They are only using Ghana as a transit point. What do you make of that argument?
The problem with that argument is that it would then appear that it is these West African citizens who are asking to come to Ghana.
Okay.
But that is
Right.
not the case.
True. Yeah.
They are fighting with the foreign power and saying that the foreign power is mistreating them, maltreating them.
Yeah.
They want their rights to be respected. The foreign power says, no, dumping you in Ghana. And Ghana says, please come and dump them here. That's a different situation. You understand? In any case, why? There are aircrafts flying between all the American states and Lagos and Abuja and so on. So why are Nigerians not being taken to Nigeria?
We asked that question too.
It's an important question. I mean, it's not like the only aircrafts which fly out of the United States fly into Ghana.
Yeah.
They fly to Togo. They fly to Nigeria. They fly to Liberia. They fly to Senegal. They fly to all those places. So why this arrangement for Ghana? I don't understand it. Maybe you do.
No, but it turns out
Yeah.
that we agreed to accept or to accommodate these West African nationals because we needed America to reverse this ban on a 5-year visa matter.
So, but I've addressed that. I mean, that would sound more like prostitution.
Oh,
Yeah.
but there are many Ghanaians who were not happy with this ban on this 5-year visa thing.
So what? So
Yeah,
what?
but the government is there to serve the
so
people.
do anything. Do anything, even if it undermines your dignity.
What do you have against the reversal of the ban?
I don't have anything against the reversal of the ban.
Yes.
What I have
Yes.
something against
Yes.
is prostituting foreign policy.
Okay.
They are two different things. Look, why? If the United States grants Ghanaians 20 years visa and so on, what do I care? You understand? But my dignity as a Ghanaian ought not to be sacrificed in order for those who want to go to the US for 5-year visa and so on to get their visas.
Okay.
Our
All right.
sovereignty cannot be compromised. It should not be compromised under any circumstance. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yes.
So
Huh? Mas, are you?
Yes, please. I'm listening.
Yes. Article 71 says the president, that's clause 1, may execute or cause to be executed treaties, agreements, or conventions in the name of Ghana.
Yes.
2, a treaty, agreement, or convention executed by or under the authority of the president shall be subject to ratification by A, Act of Parliament, or B, a resolution of Parliament supported by the votes of more than 1/2 of all members of Parliament.
Yes.
Now, interpretation. It doesn't even have to be written.
Really?
Yes. It doesn't even have to be written. Conventions are not always written.
Yes.
So even just an understanding, yeah, between our government and another government, which may not even be written, needs parliamentary ratification. Is that clear?
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
It is.
So it's quite clear.
But then you can
quite
also
clear.
perhaps grant the minister the fact that maybe he was motivated or actuated by genuine intentions.
Right.
I wouldn't also take that away from him. No, seriously.
I get you, but the reason why I am worried about this is that the minister himself, when this thing, in fact, when Nana Addo Akufo-Addo signed an agreement, some MOU with La Côte d'Ivoire, with regards to cocoa pricing,
Yes, yes, yes.
he argued on the floor
Oh, okay.
that alone constitutes, on the basis of the judgment of the Supreme Court, constitutes an agreement that should come back to Parliament for ratification.
I don't even think that we need to go to the judgment of the Supreme Court.
You mean it's clear?
Because the Constitution is so very clear.
Yes.
You understand?
So this whole issue about
you
we are
don't
doing so
actually
on
need a
humanitarian
judgment.
grounds, and then we are going to we are accepting our brothers from ECOWAS and all those things. It's neither here nor there. Now, when he was pushed by one journalist, he changed the narrative from humanitarianism now to what? A barter trade.
Yeah, but you
Give
should,
me-
have also,
give me
you
the
should have
parties.
also been less critical on humanitarian grounds and on old school boyism grounds. You should have been less critical.
How?
On old school boyism grounds. You all went to a Presec.
No,
And
if
look at
we
how
went to
critical you've
Presec,
been.
I went to
on this
Presec. That
matter.
is why I want him to succeed.
Okay, all right.
That is why I want him to succeed.
Okay.
And I'm saying that this initial thing from my brother is starting on the wrong footing.
Okay.
Totally wrong.
All right. Kwesi and
Really surprising for many people. Now, we are talking about reparative justice. Do you know that slave owners were paid reparations?
Oh, I see.
Slave owners.
The slave owners.
Slave owners. When slavery was abolished, the slave owners said they were losing property. The slaves they had were considered property. So they sued for reparation, and they were paid reparation.
No argument.
So slave owners have actually received reparation.
But the victims of the slavery,
No. Slave owners actually received reparation. I mean, unbelievable.
Yeah.
But this is a lopsided world in which we live, you know.
But perhaps it also speaks to a certain mindset. I mean, there's some people who, no wonder there's a big debate in the European Parliament, because some people don't have a problem with this whole slavery thing. And so the slave owners will be paid.
that's
Because for
incredible.
them, it's a loss. I'm losing business. And so now that I'm losing business, I have to make up for it by paying you some money,
No, there are still
you know?
people around the world who think that Africans and descendants in the Caribbean and the diaspora are not human.
True.
There are still people who think that we are not human.
We don't deserve to be here. on
Yeah,
this
we are
planet.
not human, you know. So the racism continues, and it finds expression in different ways, and shocking ways, you know, really shocking ways. I mean, one of the things that I learned when I was doing the research for the book was the fact that at a certain stage during slavery, the most precious bags were made from human skin, black human skin. I mean, incredible. Our skin was being used to make leather bags.
But who in their right senses would buy such a bag?
Yeah.
It's an endorsement of murder, torture.
Yeah, but it was the most. It was a priceless gift.
Yeah.
To get a leather bag made from black human skin.
Wow.
You know, and we've been through all of this, and that's why I get very upset, very, very upset when some of our leaders, you know, tell us to copy the example of the West. I get very, very upset. I mean, those leaders have no understanding of history. Those leaders are completely ignorant, you know, and there's so many of them. That's the shocking thing, you understand? Because look, if Africa has to develop, we have to understand very clearly that the option of slavery is not available to us. The option of colonialism is not available to us. And the option of neocolonialism or neoliberalism is not available to us. So if you tell us to copy, for example, Britain or Germany or France, you must come and tell us who we should also go and capture as slaves to come and work for us for hundreds of years, you know, without compensation. You understand? Because that is how they develop. They develop by extracting labor, by extracting surplus value, slave labor. So slave labor is not something we can even contemplate today. So that option of development is out, completely out for us. By our very history, by our current circumstances and so on, the capitalist path to development is sealed for us. It's not an option, you know. And it's only ignorant persons who do not have an understanding of how history shapes today and shapes the future, you know, who can be arguing that we should take the capitalist path to development. It is closed, completely close to us. Anyway. Full engagement.
Okay.
To the extent that these CSOs had come up and had made all kinds of statements about the government's commitment to fight galamsey and so on. They had expressed concerns.
Yeah.
And as citizens and as organizations operating in Ghana, if they had concerns, the president had a duty to listen to them. So I have no problem at all with the president calling them and trying to listen to them and trying to work with them to find a common ground about how to deal with this major national problem. You understand? So I have no difficulty with that at all. I don't think that there was anything wrong with the meeting with the civil society, organizations. In the end, there appeared to have been some consensus.
Right.
One of the things that came out of the meeting was an acknowledgement of the fact that something was being done about galamsey.
Right.
Even as some of them thought it was not sufficient, there was an acknowledgement that something was being done about galamsey. And I think that for me is important. The story you just read from the Herald is also one of the clearest indications that the fight is on. We are not achieving the results we want as rapidly as we want, but certainly some fight is going on, And there have been also expert reports about the quality of the water in our rivers, improving, which has also been confirmed. But you see, this is a major national problem. And I believe that everybody, including those in government, would have wished that we dealt with it more expeditiously than we have done. I mean, there's nobody who can express 100% satisfaction with what is happening. But there's a lot of work that is being done. What we need to look at is what is it that we can do in order to accelerate the pace of progress? Is it just the declaration of a state of emergency? And if a state of emergency is declared, what does it give us, to be able to end this as quickly as possible and so on? It's an ongoing problem which needs to be addressed. And the exercises which have been carried out, especially in the areas which were mentioned, are impressive. In fact, one of the areas where they encountered settlements, Galamsey settlements and so on, the report is that those areas had originally been attacked and evacuated, and the people came back. So we keep getting this story of people being evacuated and coming back to mining areas and so on. What are the measures we can put in place to ensure that once they are evicted, they don't come back to the same areas and so on? These are ongoing conversations.
We're told now the NIMOS tax are going to be permanent. They're creating a permanent base for them.
Okay.
All right. Collins, let's do this briefly because I want us to leave the rest of the 5 minutes to look at Black Stars. Yes.
Hey, God.
Why?
You've
given up.
I think I just have to hope that the right things are done.
Okay.
Because you see, what was said before the election, before the general election, about Galamsey, everybody's hope was that when the NDC comes, within 1 month, here, in this chair.
But Collins, you have to be fair.
No, I'm being fair.
No,
I'll be very fair to Mr. Mahama. But I think it's important that I put it in context.
But do you know what I'm saying? You have to be fair.
Obviously.
If I may finish, then you can see what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Whatever was said by people in the NDC and so on, weigh that also against what your people
No problem.
said.
That's why we were voted out.
No, but listen. There were statements made by your people to the effect that they would never abandon Galamsey. And that if they abandon Galamsey, they will lose their seats.
Kwesi,
so
we have been voted out.
Huh?
We are out.
So?
His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, on a campaign platform, he said, Mr. Akufo-Addo, Ghanaians have given you the power. Solve the problem. In this studio, our own brother, Sam George, he said, if the then president is serious, he needs just 10 days.
Now, what did your people say?
Kwesi.
What did you say then?
Let me finish. Let me say what they said. That's where my argument is.
What about what your people say?
In this chair, my own brother, Blakwa, hey, state of emergency. Galamsey is so bad. In fact, behind Akufo-Addo's house, they are digging. This is what we were told. That give me 10 days. But my brother, Felix Kwachofosu, he says, the president has the military. He has the police. He even used figures. He said the president has about 5,000 soldiers, 14,000 policemen. He's the commander-in-chief.
And you disputed him. That's the interesting thing. You're not saying that you disputed him. You're not saying that you said it was not possible.
Now they agree.
Now they agree.
No.
Okay, let's
finish my argument. Sami, here, the host asked him, Sami, you need a collaborative effort to solve Galamsey. He said, no, we cannot collaborate with Galamsey to solve Galamsey. He says he cannot collaborate with Galamsey to solve Galamsey. He said, Galamsey is an 8-year-old problem. You see, when the reality don't, you see that the rhetoric has changed. Now you see government appointees. We need to collaborate. We need to come together as a country. Now we need to come together. Akufo-Addo, behind Akufo-Addo's house, the pit there, it's been covered now. It's been covered now. What we say, just to gain political power, now you are in the saddle. Solve the problem.
Okay.
Now you have the soldiers.
All right.
No, Moro, take your time. You have the soldiers. You have the police. Solve the problem. Mr. Mahama says he will only declare state of emergency when the National Security Council advises him. Do you know the members of the National Security Council? It includes Okudeta. The members of the National Security Council includes Okudeta Blakwa.
In other words?
He said he supports state of emergency. What? advice against Mr. Mama waiting for?
Collins, do you realize that you're being most unfair?
No, I'm Kwesi.
Can I explain?
No,
why
let me
you're
finish.
being most
No,
unfair?
let me finish. I'm finished, Kwesi.
Yes.
I'm saying Okuteto is on. The current lands minister, the one in charge of the fight of Galamsey, you know what he said? He said, we are long overdue. State of emergency. The education minister, the current education minister, my senior vandal, he says where we are now, Akufo-Addo should have declared state of emergency like some weeks ago. And we are in dire situations. The turbidity level of the water then, that necessitated a state of emergency. Now it's even worse. But we are being told that state of emergency is not needed. That's what we are being told now.
What did you say?
Oh, I'm Kwesi.
Why are you hiding from what you said there? It's what they said. What about you? What did you say?
Yeah, but he's just telling you that their stance on the matter has shifted. That's what he's telling you.
Oh, so everybody's stance can shift. If your stance has shifted, why is it that their stance cannot shift?
Okay.
Hey, Moro, do you get what I'm saying? Yes, you have shifted your stance.
Yes.
And you respect your... Oh, these politicians will kill us.
Moro.
These politicians, they will just kill us.
But you see this all. You see
Moro.
it all. You see
Moro.
this flip-flopping
Moro.
happening all the time.
On the issue of Galamsey. I've always said that when Mr. Mama, His Excellency, met the press,
Okay.
all I expected him to say was that Ghanaians, I am committed to fighting Galamsey.
Okay.
The posturing of my party and the way we looked at Galamsey,
Okay.
being in power, I think I need more time.
Okay.
Ghanaians, just exercise some patience for me. I tell you, we have understood what he's saying.
Okay.
But this defense about is not in the manifesto. That is what even annoys me the most. That when we say state of emergency, it's not in the manifesto. So now politicians can say things, and because it's not in the manifesto, we shouldn't take them serious.
Okay.
Is that an argument?
All right.
Why are you motivated by anger?
I'm not angry.
You said it.
No,
You
no,
just said that.
no.
What annoys you?
Yes, because the way they are defending it is what they should rather be apologizing and seeking more time from the Ghanaian people.
No.
All right.
And
No,
seeking
we talked
more
about
time
apology
from the Ghanaian
Apologize.
people to solve this problem.
Yes.
Yeah.
And not to be giving us this kind of excuse that
Okay.
it was not said by Mr. Mahama, His Excellency.
Okay.
So if because Mr. Mahama did not say we will do state of emergency,
All right.
the current top members of his cabinet, I've been wondering, what is Okudeto telling Mr. Mahama?
Okay.
What is the lands minister saying to His Excellency right now?
All right.
That Mr. Your Excellency,
We can.
the state of emergency that I talked about last 6 months, don't do it now. Is that what he's telling him?
We can end with that rhetorical question.
Then you should be telling the big man to do what he wanted to be done by Akufo-Addo.
Dedi kama mamena Pendream TV ase. Na so far so good. Say open online portal e wo Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, Pendream TV.